Check it out, check it out. Let me see what we got to show tonight. I got to see if we got some noise. Let me see if we playing something tonight. See if my headphones are working. Yes, let's see what we got going on. All right, let's see if we got some music playing. Let's see if we get something playing before Dr. A come in. Dr. A.E. come in. Let me see if we get some music playing for a second. I'm just trying to test the headphones, so just chill. There we go. Yeah, we good. All right. All right. That's what we got. All right. Limitations are set by you show. That's the show tonight. Yeah. I hope you enjoy what we about to put on and what we about to do. Got some breakdowns of some whip moments to help let you understand how we limit ourselves every day, every time. It is all about how you perceive, understand, and you have to push forward and continue to sometimes just clear your head. It's necessary. We're waiting on Dr. A to come in the room, enjoying the show. But I'm telling you, those limitations are they're real. And every time you think about the limitations that you have to point your fingers back at yourself. It's okay to do it too. You can only evolve, you can only grow from those actual moments. That's what I call lessons and not losses. Lessons are real, so are losses. You just have to learn the lesson in order to apply the lesson that you really have to take heed and learn. You gotta apply it too. You just can't learn and say you're learning and you know it, you got it. And all of this is, you can't, it don't work that way. How it really works is you have to put in that actual work to make sure, man, just to make sure that you got your bases covered at all times, Just don't ever be cornered. Address situations properly. If you feel alleviated, leave it alone. Move forward. Yeah, limitations, I tell you, you can put yourself in a hole just like that. Not limiting yourself and your capabilities. We got my brother on. Hey, he is in here. Let's go. All right. What's up? Brother has come on. Get the screen split right. There we go. Doc, can you hear me? Yes, sir. I hear you. Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I hear you real well. No audio problems tonight. Okay.
All right.
All right. We are doing well. Let me turn the music down a little bit. You like the music? You like the music?
Oh, it's soothing.
See if I can get it down a little bit more. I'm turning it up and I'm trying to get it down. There we go. There we go. That sounds better. Much more palatable while we get our show on. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Anyway, okay, tonight's show, limitations are set by you. You. Absolutely, because we already know when you grew up in a household like me and Dr. A.E., you come from them households that they tell you how hard you have to work. They tell you how strong and how specifically and accurately and with discipline how you have to apply yourself. And on top of that, you still have your chores. You know what I'm saying? So, growing up in a Black American household, everything was about orchestration, discipline, how you get to the next day, how you make that palatable for you and your whole house because you're a team. So, AE, what was motivational for you about growing up and your father not allowing you to have limitations? What did that do for you?
I think the most important thing was it set the foundation, right? We would like to think that, when you do things repetitively and you do it early in life, repetitively for a period of years, then even when you go out, you try things or whatever as an adult, as young adults do, you come back to that, right? Because that's part of that quote unquote muscle memory,
Yes, sir.
right? And so for me, it was, and I always say it, from my father, it was a work ethic,
Yes,
you
sir.
know. And so it was that work ethic, I think, that saved my life. Once I did lose my way and got in all types of trouble and everything else, it was the work ethic was the foundation. You know, they gave me good, and tried to direct me with the good morals and principles, and I kind of threw those aside and I came back to those, but it's the practical is what you really are going to rely on to survive, right?
For real.
The theoretical principles and morals and ethics are what should guide you, but it's the practical to what you're going to end up using um, to get where you want to be, and get things accomplished. So I would say that it was for me. It was the work ethic. That became the foundation for me.
All right.
Different people have different things, but that was mine.
I can agree with you with that, man. Yeah, that's definitely we share that alike. I won't be the day I was, but what I will give you is the next question is, what were the hidden barriers? The hidden barriers that created them sort of setbacks that made you feel like you was limited or made you feel like you had no choice but to go. I understand the work ethic, but what were the barriers that made you feel like, oh hell no, that can't be true. I gotta figure out how to overcome or how to get around this specific barrier because you were
Well,
perceived to have limitations, but those were
right. That was
illusions. You know what I'm saying?
a,
Illusions.
a perceived limitation or barrier for me um was my Napoleonic complex, right?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you talked about that a while ago on the show. Yeah.
and that it didn't make me give up in things that I couldn't do, but it made me adversely, right? It made me adversely take on the wrong attitude at times, right? That people were against me when they really weren't. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yes, indeed.
that I always, and this was the main one for me, that I always had something to prove. And so that in itself can be a positive thing for in certain cases, right?
Sure.
And it did in my life in certain cases, but in other cases, it was detrimental. This feeling that I always had to prove something, because I was only 5'4", and then maxed out at 5'5",
Yeah, man.
And so that to me was mine, and everybody has to recognize that.
Yeah, I
And
gotta.
even,
Oh yeah,
you
go
know,
ahead.
even once you recognize it, you have to accept it, right?
Yes,
And there's that acceptance is subjective, right? Because I had a false acceptance initially, right? I was like, oh, it is what it is. Oh well, And then a friend of mine, a wise man, old enough to be my father,
uh-huh.
he said, he asked me a question. He was like, okay, so are you telling me that if there was a pill that you could take that
Good call.
will you could take that pill for 1 week and you be my height, because he was about 6'1".
Right.
He was about 6'1", 6'2".
By my yeah.
And he was like, yes. He was like, you telling me you've accepted your height such that you wouldn't take that pill, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to come clean again. That's another realization, right? I was like, no, I would take that pill, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. The acceptance, you know, it was then wrapped more into the serenity prayer, right? To accept the
Yeah,
things that I
that you
cannot
cannot
change.
change.
And that's a different type of acceptance, just to say I accept it,
Sure.
you know.
Oh yeah.
So um that's mine. That's my example. Everybody has one, What is that thing that limited you in some way? What
Yeah.
made you, whether you had this bad attitude, whether you had this,
I'ma
like I
share.
had a
I'ma
friend.
share your mind. I'ma share your mind.
Okay, I'm gonna say
I'm gonna
this
share
and
you.
you
Go ahead.
jump
You
on
got
in
it.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
You
had a
got it.
friend,
For sure.
two actually, a male and a female. They
Uh-huh.
just couldn't let it go. If they thought somebody was getting over on them,
Ooh,
they
boy.
couldn't let it go. It ate at them. They
Two
just
Adam. Yeah.
they couldn't let karma. They couldn't let God
Deal with it.
take it.
They had to deal with it.
They had to deal with it. They had to do it. They just couldn't let it go.
I
But go
understand why
ahead,
you.
brother.
I understand why you say go ahead after this because
No, and it
that's
was a limitation for them because
hey
they
man.
spent so much time and energy. One of them went to
Yeah.
jail one time for it. I mean, everything.
Ooh.
They just couldn't let it go.
Extremes. Okay, they got extremes. Because I kind of shared that when I was a younger man. I ain't let shit go. I put shit in my own hands too. I was a little off the chain when I was younger, so I can identify with that. Is what I was saying. Luckily, I didn't spend time in jail, and well, I did, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't. No, I don't have any. I don't have a violent or a negative. I don't have any felonies. No crazy. It's not like that. Anyway.
It's a good thing, brother.
So absolutely. So no pun intended, my brother. But what I'm trying to explain is, yeah, I have my limitations were uh, my abilities to overcome things and still be kind of arrogant, and that gave me it gave the facade to people that I wasn't willing to learn and listen. I just wasn't willing to accept the way people wanted to communicate with me. That was a very big problem for me because it had to do with respect, and if I'm being respectful, I don't like being because at the end of the day we're men, so I had a very big problem. In the Marine Corps,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I got in a lot of tussles, or I got in a lot of fights to where I put my hands on a great deal of people. I don't beat the shit out of some folks, man, just because of simply because they extremely disrespectful. And so I had to overcome a lot of anger issues, and I had to understand what they were buried in. I was a combat veteran at 18 years old. I grew up in a very rugged, Christian home. Grew up on a plantation then until my mother was very, she didn't play that. She didn't play the radio with us. She made sure we, had all of our disciplines and all of our, manufacturers in order. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to say I didn't have freedom as a child. I had a great free childhood, but mother just wasn't one for. She told me if you ever had to go to jail, you ain't getting you out. You're just gonna be in jail. So I knew how to kind of not cross them lines. And
Right.
I did a lot. I did a lot of crossing the line, but I had to learn. The nightmares. I don't want to go to jail. And that shit kept me. See, sometimes limitations were good that the parents gave you, knowing what you could and what you could not do, and what would keep you from being extremely unsuccessful, like going to jail, like pressing that line. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like this is. I know this is one of the subjects that we've even discussed personally. Like, man, I ain't never. And then I look at you like, damn, but you're a great fucking dude, man. Just a great guy. And it's like, but you had a damn nerve about you. So it's like you had that kind of nerve, but I was in the Marine Corps with that same kind of nerve. I don't know what I would have did on the street. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what I would have did if I was in the civilian sector. If I was a civilian growing up, I don't know what would have. I can't even imagine. I know how my father was. You know what I'm saying? I know I would have had drive, but I knew I would have had. I'm glad that I made the decisions that I made dealing with my shortcomings the Marine Corps helped me deal with a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was coming from with it. So we got another question for you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Because, we got those. Should we might make 30 minutes tonight? Hey, this is going good. But I doubt it. Anyway, so they say, limitations and the things that people do to limit themselves. And we've covered a whole lot of ground in such a short period of time tonight. It's kind of great. But another good question for you. When did you find out you were limitless? Like you really didn't have no damn boundaries. How old were you when you really discovered that you didn't have any boundaries and all you had to do was just achieve? How old were you before you found out you was able to do and accomplish the things you have accomplished?
I probably was a late bloomer. I'd say about 25, somewhere between 25, 27. I've had some friends that knew what they wanted to be in life at a very young age, and it kept them focused. I do have a friend rather, childhood friend. We were in college together, everything. Ever since I can remember, we had to be at least, I'm just a little bit older than him, not much, but we had to be at least 7 years old. He would have all these planes. He put the model planes together, put them on a string, all in his ceiling.
Right.
He knew by the time he was 17 years old, he wanted to be a pilot.
Right.
He's been a pilot now for about 30 years. Since the mid-90s. You see what I'm saying?
Dope.
I had another friend. She must have been 9th grade. Said she was going to be a doctor. She's been a doctor now for a good, 15, 20 years. Maybe even 30. Let's see. About 20 years. And so I remember seeing Taraji P. Henson. They showed her high school graduation, and somebody wrote, where she wrote in the book, in her, high school book, I'm going to Hollywood and I'm going to be an actress for real, though. You see what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is, when you have that, it kind of sets you. It kind of gives you a little more. It gives you a leg up on maturity too, because you now have a focus and plan. And so for me, it didn't come until later on in life that I realized, the best thing that God gave me was my brain. You know, that was the best thing. My ability to make it through the education system in this country, you know, my ability to learn and catch on things quickly, and then my ability to express myself in writing and speaking, right? And so, like I said, I was a little late with it, 25, 27, you know. But at that point, I once I knew this is what God gave me to survive, this is what God gave me to help fulfill my purpose. This is my gift. God gives us all gifts. I don't care. We've seen autistic people who
Oh
are
man.
phenomenal with math, right?
Or
They're
drawing.
phenomenal with
Yeah.
math.
Yeah.
God gives us a gift. We have to find it, you know? And so for me, I learned that my mind was my gift that God gave me, and I had to use it and run with it, if I wanted to survive.
Same. Same. Understood.
So that was it for me, bro.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll share my experience. Um, I did. I went in the Marine Corps at 17 years old, and initially I did have intentions on staying in the Marine Corps for a life, being a lifer, but I knew I was just I knew I was very intelligent. I did know that. I knew I had prowess about myself. I knew I had a very strong will. The will I had I could outpace anybody that I had dealt with. From physically, mentally, spiritually. In the military is in the Marine Corps is kind of low vibrational. You know what I'm saying? So, can you hear me, brother? Uh-oh.
Yes, I had to plug up. I didn't
Okay.
notice my battery was going down now.
Oh,
I'm with you. Excuse me,
oh
brother.
man, oh man. Oh well, all good. But so but I did take my job in the Marine Corps very seriously. And that was, as I was a wireman, and I became it was the pivotal points that made me who I am today as an engineer. Being in telecom for 30 years almost, that's something I don't think about it sometimes, but being an engineer that long is a hell of a feat as well. So I'm thoroughly appreciative of a lot. I had a hell of a day today because I was somehow my mind was just too wound tight when I woke up this morning. Don't have any mornings like this, but for some reason I was wound up a little tight this morning. I'm like, damn, is this what people feel like when they give themselves limitations? Because I never had them. You know what I'm saying? So I never even accepted that I had one, even when I was a child. I never accepted that. I was so competitive, I never accepted the fact that there were such things as limitations. So, but today, when I woke up this morning, it was a reminder because I was just a little wound tight in the mind. It's because of external things and pressures that do affect you, but you still have to do your job, you still have to perform, you still have to do what is necessary, even when you're not feeling at your best. You know what I mean? Because it's those external energies and forces are designed to make you think you're limited. But you have to keep moving, you have to keep pressing, and you have to keep finding out ways, and even in real time, of how to get out of your funk. Because those external forces are very tricky. when you think you figured your way around or out of them, is another strategic way that it's going to attack you. Hey, E, you want to have some of that? You want to expound?
Well, it's psychological, right? It's like you
Yes.
said, the limit, right? Not in the direct way, but in the adverse way, right? I didn't think that my height could hold me back from anything. I went to the other extreme, right? I let it develop this attitude that was more detrimental than helpful, right?
Yeah.
That I always had something to prove that um I had this envy. Let's call it like it is. This envy of people 6 feet and better, you know? And so you know, it's the psychological that you have to deal with. That's that internal issue, you know. Now I'm in my early 50s now. I don't even think twice about it. My nephews, anybody else, my son,
Yeah.
all of them, I slap them right on the chest. Hey, reach up there and get that for me, man. I ain't got time for that. I don't think that now. Dude, even women, hey, can you grab that for me? Shoot, doesn't bother me.
Right.
Uh,
Straight up.
and it's funny, people thought, and it probably was to a certain extent, but it wasn't as much as people thought. It was just that was the thing as well. Once I got old, if I I like what I see, right? My ex-wife is 5'11",
Right.
you know.
Straight up.
So that's what I'm saying. That's the part of me that didn't, I didn't care. I don't care the fact that I'm
Straight up.
5'5". I like what I saw.
That's it. You got them too, though.
Um,
That's
and
what it
since
is.
then, I've had a couple of 5'9", 5'10", 5'8", you know, and like I said, it wouldn't matter to me if I'm standing next to somebody in the kitchen. I wouldn't care if it's a woman. Hey, grab that for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I ain't going to get no chair. Grab that. You know.
What am I gonna do
The
all
world
that
I'm gonna
for?
do that for? You standing right here. Grab that chair. It won't bother me. I've been 5'5" a long time now. It is what it is now. It is what it is now. Shoot. I ain't got time for that
I
now.
love it.
You know.
Don't get there about
So,
none of that.
that's part of that serenity though. You just accept it. So
It's
it's
cool as hell. I
the
think it's
but
funny.
that requires
Oh
a psychological change or a psychological breakthrough.
man.
And
Yeah.
that's what the point I'm getting at.
I'm with you. I'm with you, brother. For sure.
It requires a psychological change, psychological breakthrough, that barrier no longer becomes a barrier, right?
Oh yeah.
That
But
you have either accepted it or whatever the case may be, it is what it is. I'm sorry, I know you noticed me. Everybody probably knows me looking to the side. My computer done it started cutting up on me again, brother. I'm gonna have to bring it to you.
bring it on. That's fine. I got you. I get it in shape for you. No problem. But yeah, man. So, that's been a great show, man. So, did I have one more question? Let me see. Did I have one more question in the show? Yes, I did.
Okay.
So it was called. This is the good part of the show, y'all. It's the shattering your limitations. Just don't stress out about things that, like Dr. A.E. was saying, you can't control. But A.E., like you just exposed, how did you just completely shatter and understood that you could even use other people to reach higher? Where did you just keep reaching higher? You just said, I know, but see, these points change, and you had that psychological breakthrough. How much peace and how much further have you been able to take yourself just by making peace with all of that? All that what you had up here, you made peace with
Well,
all of it.
right. That's the thing. You come to the point where you accept it, right?
Mm-hmm. Finish it
And
off.
then once you get to that point where you accept it, you look at other limitations, and for those that you can change, you change, and then you hone in though on your best qualities. Like I
Yes.
said earlier, that that gift, right?
That is.
That thing that you're good at. Doesn't matter, you know, whatever that is, God God gave you. You hone in on it, you harness it, you magnify it to the best, you use it to the best.
Oh yeah.
And when you use it to your purpose in life, then you are truly where you supposed to be. So
Agreed. Yes, indeed.
other things come into shape, other things come into place for you.
Well, brother, I think we did great for tonight. That's the show. So we're gonna leave you with some closing remarks and let y'all understand something. All of what you think and what you understand about your limitations are made by you. No one else. No one can put certain ideas in your head and can limit you. And if you allow or let them to. See, sometimes you just got to make it real plain as day. Your brain is encased by a skull and it doesn't see or touch or understand anything. So if you understand why God made us this way, or the gods made us this way for a specific reason. Everything on you means something. So if your brain is that powerful and it controls all of your extremities and what come out your mouth simultaneously in a second, do something with it. That's all this great brother said. Shit, my mind was the greatest thing I got. So it's protected that way for a reason, because that's how we're able to do all these magnificent and wonderful things. You have no limitations. Hey, you got anything to add?
No, I think that's it, right? That you recognize, you know, what your strengths, what your weaknesses are. You change the things that you can change. Not saying that it'll happen overnight,
Right.
but you do. You work on it, and then you harness, you magnify, and you continue to push and use the things that you are good at, and you develop them, you strengthen them. And once you are to the point where you're continuously using it to your purpose, then you are at that point. You're where you should be.
That's right. So the goal is to get to the pinnacle. The goal is to get to the best version of yourself and reach that every day. As long as you see improvements every day, that's only for you to judge. It ain't up to nobody else to judge. You just keep your steady pace. And you keep that honor within yourself as well. And watch how you communicate and talk to yourself. That means everything.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Now
talking
see,
about?
we might have to have another discussion one day, because you know what I'm thinking about. You know I'm back on the N word, brother. You know
I said, no, I'm talking about. You hear me? No, I'm talking about. You hear me say that? No, I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, we gonna get into a whole heck of a lot more conversations, my brother. That's just what it's gonna do. That's gonna be like that. Man, you got anything else to say to these wonderful people that we broadcast to when we can?
No, I think that's good. I'm good.
You good? Me
Yes, sir.
too. Well, all right now. Y'all know this is my favorite part of the show. Come on. You know you gotta say it with me. Come on. The wheel is Joe.
Really sure. God bless. One love.